Well, will you look who it is? It's Mr. O'Neill. You guess why Mr. O'Neill is here? Because Mr. O'Neill cares about you all's grades and your life and your test tomorrow. So he decided to create a video over the problems that he didn't get a chance to go over in depth, and some issues that you all were having, and some things that a student showed me to remind me there's a simpler way. So let's start with number 13 because I skipped it in both classes. Your practice test is harder than your test. So if you understand your practice test, you're gonna ace. I mean, you're gonna be like, oh my God, this test was so easy compared to the actual practice test. You're gonna, you'll do well. All right, so let's get to the problem. I'm not trying to make this video here forever, and I'm not trying to be here all day. All right, a Cliff driver, blah 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 blah. Then it says, this is the equation, which they always start off with this. It says how many seconds to t nearest 100 does it take the driver to fall 45 feet below his starting point? The reason why I didn't go over this in class because I wanted to emphasize some things. His starting point is your y-intercept. So if he's falling 45 feet below that, we first must take into account what this has to be. This is 45 feet below this. So we take 105 and subtract 45 from it, and we end up getting that he is falling 60 feet, or it's 45 feet from the starting point, which is 60 feet. So when we come over here and solve this problem, we end up having negative 16t squared plus 5t plus 105 is equal to 60. Now, y'all, when we see this, we have to subtract 60 from both sides, subtract 60 from both sides. So we end up getting negative 16t squared plus 5t plus 45 is equal to 0. Now, when we look at this problem, y'all, there's no way in the world that we're going to do slide and divide or factor by grouping. These numbers are large, and I'm not about to do that. So when we have really large numbers, what do we use? The quadratic formula. Negative b plus and minus square root b squared minus 4ac b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. All right, so that's what we have. So I've done this problem, so I just want to make sure. So we end up getting negative 5 plus or minus 25 minus, nope, because a negative times a negative is a positive, plus 2080. And so when we add these together, we know we're going to get 2 because this is the discriminant. Okay, so we know that's positive. We will get 2 roots, and we're dividing all of this by 2 times negative 16 is negative 32. All right, so this gives me negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 2905 divided by negative 32. And 2905, negative 5 plus or minus is approximately 53.9. And then divided by negative 32. So we know this is a real life situation. We want the positive root, positive. So we're dividing by a negative. We're dividing by a negative right here. So we want the answer to be, the numerator needs to be negative because a negative divided by a negative is the positive. So I'm going to use the part that says negative 5 minus 53.9 divided by negative 32. And when you put this into your calculator, y'all, please do not put this in your calculator. You're not putting negative 5 minus 53.9 divided by negative 32. Your calculator will say divide this and then subtract 5. That is not what we want. We want it to do this. Okay? Little draw tool acting weird. All right, we wanted to do that. Take this and then divide it by negative 32. And when we do that, we get 1.84, which is our answer. Please, y'all, don't make that mistake. Please, 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 please. And if you're putting all of this into your calculator, then you need to put parentheses around all of that. And if you have the fancy calculators that have parentheses on the inside, then you know you got to put extra parentheses on the inside. You know I've taught you this, but I wouldn't even worry about putting everything inside your calculator. The likelihood of y'all making a mistake is really high. I'm talking fast because I want to get to the next point. So do this, break it all the way down to this, and then put this in your calculator. That in parentheses divided by that. All right. Hopefully you get it. If not, send me a remind. All right. This question goes out to Sophia because she came back during lunch. Like I always tell my wonderful third block people like Rhea and them always asking questions. Anna R want to ask questions, but they never want to come back because they don't really care. They want to just take up my class time and whatever. You know, Anna R would say like, "Isn't this what class is for?" Yes, but can I spend all day answering your questions? No. So if you really have a question, you should come back and ask. Yes, but do you really care? No. So you don't show up. But Sophia did, and that's why she is getting 3 extra points because Sophia reminded me of an easier way to solve this problem. What I did in both classes would work, but it's really hard. So Sophia said, and I think Rhea tried to say this, but you know, Rhea don't care. She don't come back. So yeah, I'm talking about all of y'all. All right. So she said, well, isn't the entire thing equal to 91? And this is the way I did it before. And I was just like, oh my God, I had a brain fart in class. So the entire thing is equal to 90. No, the inner region is equal to 91. All right. So, and don't talk about, you know, Anna R showed up the next day. Well, that was what I was trying to say, but you wouldn't let me say it. Yeah, exactly. Because when did I want you to say it? During lunch, like Sophia came back, and that's why she's getting 3 points. Hate on her if you want to. All right. But you're not going to hate on her. You're going to hate on me. You know, Anna R gets on my nerves sometimes, but I love her. All right. So we have x times 2x minus 1 is equal to 91. Okay, because the area of the inner region is equal to 91. So we end up distributing, and we get 2x distributing, and we get 2x, y'all, get your life together, stop acting weird. 2x squared minus x is equal to 91. What do? We want to use a zero product property, so we subtract 91 from both sides, and we get that equal to 0. So here, this does factor, but if y'all want to use the quadratic formula, you can. I'm not, because this actually does factor. It took me a while to figure out what the factors were, and so I kept dividing, and so I used slide and divide. So I had x squared. Rechina came back and solved this problem, but Rechina, you forgot to divide, so you got 14, and 14 is not the answer, is equal to 0. You can, you know, butterfly, whatever you're going to do. And so this now factors into x minus 14 and then x plus 13, okay, is equal to 0. Well, that's the slide. Now I must divide. So now I end up with x minus 7 times x, 2x rather, plus 13. And you know, when the slide and divide, really, this right here, the opposite of this answer is really what I'm saying it is. And so we only go for the root that is positive. This is the only root that's going to be positive because I must take the opposite. Oh my gosh, if y'all don't understand that, you must take the opposite of this. So this is going to give me x equals 7. This will give me x equals a negative 13 halves, which is a negative 6.5. This is real life. That doesn't work. So x has to be 7, everybody. And we can check this. If we put 7 here, 7 times 2 times 7 is 14, minus 1 is 13. 7 times 13 is 91. Okay? So this question is actually misleading because it says, then what is the area of the outer shaded region? Honestly, the outer shaded region is this right here, this shaded region. But they're really asking, what is the area of the entire region? Okay, because I mean, I guess maybe they're saying like this part is shaded. It's just it's not shaded. So the question is misleading. So if x is 7, then that makes that 7 plus 3, which is 10. That makes this 7 plus 5, which is 12, and then 10 times 12 is 120. I know some of y'all are like, oh my God, Mr. O'Neil, this is so much easier than what you showed us in class. It really is. What I showed you in class would have worked, especially in 4th block, but you know, this is way easier. And Sophia jogged my memory because I did solve it like this, but I forgot. I had a brain fart in class. You know, it happens from every now and then. So Sophia, you get your 3 points, and y'all can shout out Sophia, hug her, whatever. Give her some money, pay for her lunch, take her out to eat, something, because Sophia did that thing. All right, looking at the next problem. This screen needs to be smaller. Another issue that I kept seeing is that when there is no bx, that means you have ax squared, this is the original form, plus bx plus c. Well, we're missing bx. It's gone. So you got a ax squared plus or minus c. And that's what we have right here. That's what we will have, because we have r squared minus 7 is equal to 9. I know I went over this in class, but people are not understanding. If you don't have an x in the problem, then you use the square root method. Okay? Look at that beautiful handwriting. So we add 7, and we get r squared is equal to 16. Now we got to find the square root. Square root. We take the square root of r, a variable. We know that the number can be positive or negative. So r is equal to positive or negative 4, which is in Rasta form, negative 4. All right, y'all. That's simple. This problem is simple. It's simple. The answer is B, but again, it's not simple when you don't understand that when it's bx is missing, use square root method. Could you factor this? Yes, you could have said over here, you could have said, well, Mr. O'Neal, I want to subtract 9 from both sides and get r squared minus 16 is equal to 0. And then I want to factor this by being r minus 4 times r plus 4 is equal to 0. And then I know the opposite roots is equal to 4 and equal to negative 4. And it's the same thing, Mr. O'Neal. Could I have done that? Yes, you could have done that. Yes, you could have done that. Yes. All right. All right. So the next problem, it says assume you are given the equation y equals ax squared plus bx. A, b, c are integers. All right. And the equation has no real roots. All right. You may reasonably conclude that the discriminant of the equation b squared minus 4ac is negative, a negative integer, because the discriminant, if it is positive, we have 2 roots. 0, which means we have a perfect square trinomial, we have 1 root. And negative, we have no real roots. They are imaginary, but they're not real. Will you see a problem like this on your test? Yes, you will. And to the last 2 problems. I think, yep, the last 2 problems. Number 25. Cole kicked the football. The equation h equals negative 16t squared plus 60t describes the height of the ball t minutes after it was kicked. Approximately how many seconds went by before the ball hit the ground? Hit the ground. 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 All right, so that means the height had to be 0. This is a whole conceptual lesson. So we get negative 16t squared plus 60t is equal to 0. Now, could you say, hey, Mr. O'Neal, I just want to use the quadratic formula? Yes, you can use the quadratic formula and take your wonderful time and do all that stuff. I'm not, because I know this factors. I know it factors. 4 goes into both of them. And some of y'all don't take out a negative 4, so I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do it the way that many of you would do it, this problem. Okay? So we take out a 4 and we take out a t. And we end up with a negative 2t. Sorry, not this negative 2, this negative 4. Negative 4t plus 15 is equal to 0. Zero product property, y'all. Zero product property said that the 4t has to be equal to 0. That's the A. And the negative 4t plus 15 has to be equal to 0. That's the B. Well, we know the time can't be 0. How many balls? It took 0 seconds for the ball to hit the ground. No, that's where it starts. And then we come over here, we solve, we get subtract 15, we get negative 4t is equal to negative 15 divided by negative 4, and we get 3.75, which is 3.8 seconds. Remember the shortcut? When you have this, take the opposite of this and divide it by this. Same thing we got right here. And then the last problem. Again, this problem is tricky. I ended up missing it the first time because I had to go back and read the question. It says the cost of pizza with the works. Woo, the works is given as a function of its diameter. I wonder if pizza company use this. No. The relationship is C equals D squared minus 2D plus 44.7. 44.7. 44.7. Really, Mr. O'Neal? Really? 447. You know, I'm going to make this for watching the video, if you put 447 at the top of your test, you'll get 2 extra bonus points. Now, don't tell people that didn't watch the video that. That's their fault. You know, some of y'all just like, I'm just my friend, I'm gonna stay loyal. They didn't do the work. Probably not gonna do that as well as you anyway. So getting 447 on top of the test. Don't ask me. I can hear Henry if he watched the video. Mr. O'Neal, don't forget what you don't remind me. I know. All right, let's get to this. The cost of pizza with the works is blah blah blah. It's this function where C is the cost in cents, Mr. O'Neal. That's what I missed the first time. And D is the diameter of the pizza. If the pizza costs $16, then what is the reasonable estimate for the diameter of the pizza? So what I did the first time, I made that to be 16. That's a lie because that's cost in cents, so $16 is 1,600 cents. So you have D squared minus 2D plus 447 is equal to 1,600. Now, who in their right mind? Oh, sorry, let me keep going. So we subtract 1,600 from both sides, subtract 1,600 from both sides, and we get D squared minus 2D minus 1153 is equal to 0. Now, this is my who in their right mind. Who in their right mind want to go through and find factors? I started trying to find factors, and I was like, listen, this does not work. It's taking me forever, and then I just Googled it because, you know, y'all won't be able to Google it tomorrow. And I was like, oh, there are no factors. Okay, well, great. Then we went on and used the quadratic formula to solve this problem. So by now, you should have this first part already on your paper. So I'm going to go through and delete it. Man, I don't want to do that because it's going to be missing from my little answer key. Oh, man. Sorry about the video. It's not doing this right. I don't want to delete. I'm going to pause it real quick. I'll be right. All right, so I got it back up here so I can remember it. I think there was a 0 here. All right, so now use the quadratic formula. So we have negative b, which is, let me pick a different color, which is 2 plus or minus square root, plus or minus square root, b squared, which is 4, minus 4 times 1 times 1153, negative 1153. Oh yeah, that looks like a mess over there. All over 2 times 1, which is a. All right, so we end up getting, I didn't show the word to this anymore. So whatever, put this into your calculator and you get 2 plus or minus the square root of some number. Let me just do it now. All right, I think I have it over here. All right, so we have, and these are both negative. That should be a negative sign right there. So I have 4 plus 4 times 1153. And that gives me 4616. And then the square root of that. That's not what I got the first time. Did I do 4? Oh, yeah. All right. So we end up getting 67.9, because that's the square root. Sorry, that number inside, I mean, y'all can fast forward this. I know I've been babbling. Is 4616, which is approximately 67.9. And we're dividing it by 2, because it's 2a. And we don't want the negative answer, so clearly this is a real world answer. So we're really just taking 2 plus 67.9 and divided by 2. Remember, we group all of this together. 2 plus 2, which gives you 69.9, which is around 70. So you're really saying 70 divided by 2, which gives you 35, which is C. All right. So hopefully this helps. The video is not even 20 minutes. And so if you watch it, don't forget about the 447. All right. For spending your time watching the video. This has been another Beast Mode production. This is Mr. O'Neal. I'm out.